Hello, I'm Don MacLaren. Let me come down to introduce myself. I'm a ghostwriter. Well, at least that's one of the titles I've lived with for the last 20-some years. And what happens is when I graduated from seminary years ago, I never expected to be doing some of the ghostwriting work. So right now, I just want to share with you what it means to be a ghostwriter. And basically, it means that I may or may not have my name on a book or a project, but I do help people to write it or even to edit. So a lot of times the ghostwriter title that I introduce myself to people includes the writing, creative writing, interviewing, hearing what people want to say, and also, of course, editing, as well as other extended services. I can guarantee that a book will get published. I can guarantee it can have international distribution on the internet nowadays. And a lot of advances have happened since I even started 20 years ago. Certainly the internet and what people are able to do. Now, as far as keeping in touch with people, I can do that by telephone, or personal visits, or email, of course, has been very important. I had a client in New Zealand, so in fact 2 clients. One was an author of a novel, sort of based on real life, and also the lady who was into health, eating, and cooking healthy foods. So we did a lot by email. And that's because of the advancement of the internet. However, it could have always included postage and mailing back and forth, a little bit more slower process, but the emails help to speed things up nowadays. And of course, I help to get the books published. So there's a lot that I can do for people, and there's been changes. A lot of times the traditional publishers have always been a problem for 2 basic reasons. They want to pay maybe 8% royalties, and they don't always want to stock books a lot. But nowadays you can have up to 40% or maybe 70% for ebooks for royalties. So you can have a lot more money. And authors are getting away from the idea of traditional publishers for that reason. So you have that, and you don't have to stock books, you don't have to pre-print books. Books can be printed when an order is taken. And this is on an international scale. And any type of royalties that come from the euro in Europe, or money from Canada, or money from Australia, money, English pounds from England, all this can be converted into the American dollar, so you get your royalties. So this is what we're doing nowadays, and my clients have been varied. One, for example, and let me just show you, this represents a medical doctor called The Road Back, but she had been hurt in her home country of Jamaica, though she's an American citizen. And she had to spend time in recuperation. And in fact, when she first got hurt, they didn't know who she was. She had no ID on her because she was out jogging. And she thought she would simply go home and put the key in the door and she would be safe. But actually she got hurt and with an accident and dragged 100 feet. And it ended up hurting her brain, putting her in a coma. So they thought she might be just some wild prostitute at first, but they didn't realize she really was a medical doctor on a mission to be there. And so when she came back, she could not write sentences, but she could talk, she could tell her story. So I got a chance to visit with her on regular visits, and we got the book put together. So this has now become her story, and she can now become of course, an inspirational speaker or information speaker to caregivers and medical people around the country. And in addition, I added some inspirational thoughts at the back here, just to let you know there's some white space, empty space here, so that people can make notes or think about what they're going through. So the book is good for either patients who have to try to readjust, and especially those who may have had severe brain damage or other multiple fractures or problems, just as Dr. Kathleen Watson has had to go through. And it's good for caregivers, and whether it's the home caregiver or the professional in the hospital or facility caregiver. So this is one of my clients, so this is interesting sometimes to get working on things here. Another client happened to be a man who was working at the United Nations. So he was J. Suri Conte is the name here, but it's really a Dr. Conte. He has a Ph.D. But he wanted to write novels, so on the side, so we certainly helped him to do that. I also did the cover, so I can do covers of books. There's the front and of course the back. Now the back cover actually includes his picture, so you can get a quick look. But he is an author of several, maybe about 5 books. So I did. What's nice is that he came back to me. So I did one for the Diamonds, and I always call him Dr. Conte, but Dr. Conte came from Sierra Leone, where he grew up, so we have a great relationship. And he also did another book called Kimba's Fate. Now his daughter happened to do the artwork. She's living in London, England, as I understand, and I just set up the typeset for the bottom there for the title. And again, we used his picture for the back. So we used his picture on the back cover. And so these are African novels from that are published and sold internationally. And another interesting case is the case of a New York state senator, because I'm in New York right now. But I can be anywhere in the world, technically. I could probably be in Alaska or Florida or South America or anywhere, and do this by internet or Skype. Now Skype is a big thing, so that is nice when we can see each other and talk, but as long as I get the information, we can talk, whether telephone or some other way. Or sometimes people actually have a 300-page manuscript, so that may include certainly editing, but it may involve a little bit of rewriting. But this particular gentleman, Pedro Espada Jr., I'm just showing a newspaper article here. He did start out with me, and we started getting the information for a book. But then he was interested in explaining New York politics. Well, of all things, I didn't know. But he himself had a medical clinic. Did a good thing. He started a clinic. However, it was included government money, federal money. So he was using the money, which I didn't know, for trips to Las Vegas and a lot of sushi. And he paid me for some of my services to get started from the account at the medical clinic. Well, of all things, one day, to tell you, the FBI knocked on my door, and I didn't know they were going to come. I had no idea he was in trouble or that he was doing these things. So, as you can see from the article, the newspaper was not too nice to him, but this was looting the health firm. And then in the small box is the picture of his son, who was in trouble too. But he was taking money and not really using it for the clinic, so the federal government took him to court. I had to testify that yes, he paid me, but as the FBI said to me, I'm an innocent party because he was paying other people. So I say this openly because he has been convicted and he has been sentenced. So he was found guilty on 4 counts right here of misusing the government money for the health clinic, which is a shame. And he has a sentence, as I understand this, he is in jail for 5 years, and he has to repay the government $500,000. So it's I don't mind working with people of various backgrounds. That's not the problem. And I certainly had no idea of his extent of what would be considered some wrongdoing by the federal government because of the misuse of money. I don't think they even had bought a x-ray machine for the clinic, and he certainly had enough money to do that. But he was skimping on the clinic and creating problems really for himself. So his book is not going to get finished, at least in the next 5 years, if it ever will. But he was trying to say that the New York politics is a rough and tough scene, and he was just one of those people who had to kind of box his way through life and take aggressive action, but he also did the wrong thing too. So it's a matter of, there's all kinds of clients out there. The only thing I prefer, certainly, and would not do is the porno. It's not necessary. There's 7 billion people in the world, so there's 7 billion stories out there, and preferably there are stories that don't get the person in trouble. I myself would always protect myself, and I would never want to use real names or anything that would create a lawsuit for my client or for myself. I've never had a lawsuit. I don't want problems either. So I don't need any more visits from the FBI. And then one last thing, I have my own book, Faith into Miracles. So I got this put together after my recuperation from cancer. And this is a photograph of my own. I did the layout. I thought the tree on top of a mountain, and Virginia was very symbolic. And I put my own picture on the back of this particular book. But these are things that I can do for people and for you or whoever may be watching, or pass the word on. A ghostwriter, you really met a live ghostwriter, and I'm glad to be able to help you. And anybody who has a book project. This to me is a creative outlet. It's fun, and it can help other people. So let's try to share. If you have a story, let me know. Be in touch. And so you can certainly see my name, Donald MacLaren, and be glad to hear from you very much. And you can always email me, or let's just say call me if you want. 718-721-3559. That's easy. And it's a New York City phone number. All right. Well, enjoy the opportunity of becoming an author, and I will help you. Okay. Thank you very much.